and welcome to my channel. I'm so excited to have you here. So today we're going to be doing MLM Horror Stories, which is nothing new on my channel. If you are new here, every single Friday I read submissions from you guys of your multi-level marketing horror stories, and we chat about it, we talk about them here on my channel. We support you, we love you. So if you want to send me your horror story, send it to me in my email. I will have that linked down below. Do not send it to me in Instagram DMs because I definitely do not take submissions from there because DMs get lost way too much. So grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your water, because you're gonna need it. And let's get into today's video. The first one is about Beachbody. It says, condescending boss babe coach Beachbody experience. I've had this written out since July and decided I should add to it and send it to you because I like you and what you do for the anti-MLM community. I wasn't new to MLMs when I started my Beachbody journey. In January of 2017, I decided to join Roden and Fields since I would be on maternity leave. They snagged me with the extra income. However, my upline is super kind and we're still good friends and talk. She still has no hard feelings when I left. I wasn't good at selling RF. It made me uncomfortable because people are using this on their skin, and how I respond if they get a reaction, needless to say, that didn't work. So January 2019, I decided to jump into Beachbody. I had been following my coach for a couple of years. We DM'd, etc., and I finally told her I was ready. My coach is, shall we see, straightforward and no BS. I thought it was refreshing. I would defend her stories to my friends and family and saying, oh, she's just sick of people's shit. She wants them to succeed. It's just tough love. She seems mean, but she's not. I wanted so desperately to please her. It was insane. I signed my husband and sister up right away. Didn't even tell my husband and told my sister I would pay her monthly business fee. I hit Emerald in 2 days, got a shout out and everything. But it's honestly so very easy to reach Emerald. I joined push groups, which more money spent to join them. I posted, I storied, I sent messages. I have lists of people I messaged and then lists of if I messaged them again. I would do a typical caption stories with my workouts about how you need to put yourself first, stop failing, quit making excuses. This is the best thing I've ever done. The team you join matters, blah, blah, blah. I thought she sincerely liked me. We would text almost daily. I went to her house. We had a Target and Disney date with our daughters, and I'm definitely not one of those adult women Disney obsessed people like she is, or all the Beachbody Huns seem to be. I never even got past Emerald. My husband and sister hated her voice, hated how condescending she was to me, how she put me down. It's not working because I'm not drinking Shaco daily. It's not working because I'm not using the containers. It's not working because I drink more beer than I should. I had a one-on-two call with her and another coach from my Diamond mentorship, and they called me out on my eating. I got off the call and felt like the worst person ever and started to cry in the car, but I just brushed it off. They were right. In October 2019, I had a miscarriage. In December, my dog died. I drifted from the community and she stopped texting me, liking my pics, commenting, and watching my stories. I'd been looking at anti-MLM pages off and on and got more into it in the spring/early summer of 2020. I found an ex-Beachbody coach support group on Facebook and eventually YouTube channels, including you, plus other amazing accounts on IG. I always knew that building my team meant she got more, but it never really clicked. She always said, do it for the team. You're letting the team down. Ouch. I have made some great virtual friends through Beachbody, and I just see them posting and talking, and then I see my coach's pics, and I know all of my friends are just paying the lease on her new Range Rover. It makes me sick. She always made me feel guilty for the choices I made. Here are some examples. 1, I went to one Super Saturday. So guys, Super Saturdays are actually these things Beachbody does every quarter. So it's called a Super Saturday, and in your city or your town, people will generally host these events that you go to, and Beachbody gives like these huge announcements, and you get to hear people's stories from the top and all of that stuff. So that's what Super Saturday is. So she said, 1, I went to one Super Saturday but didn't stay for the presentation because my daughter, who was almost 2, was home with my mom and I wanted to get home to her. She made me feel guilty for wanting and needing to get home to my daughter. 2, I didn't sign up for Coach Summit in 2019 because again, I have a daughter and in her 2.5 years of life and to this day, I haven't spent a single night away from her. Plus, with Summit being in July, my husband isn't around. He's a Wildland Fire Crew superintendent. She informed me that she was at Summit 1 or 2 weeks. I don't recall which week of July Summit is, but her daughter is a first week of July birth, or been born on the first week of July. After her daughter was born, she went without her daughter for 1 or 2 weeks. Basically, if it means something to you, you make it happen. Hi, my daughter means more to me than Beachbody ever had or ever will. 3, breastfeeding is gross and unnatural. Okay. 4, she made me feel bad for putting ice cream in my coffee or if I ate a Reese's after work. F off with that, man. 5, in January 2020, my husband and I started budgeting and did a money saving challenge with my sister and brother-in-law. Super Saturday was coming up and I told her I wasn't going because it wasn't in my budget. Later, I had posted a question sticker in my stories asking if people had a good tattoo artist they recommend. I was interested in eventually getting a tattoo of my recently deceased dog's name. She DM'd me and was like, tattoo is in the budget but not Super Saturday? I just said I'm not getting one anytime soon. And no, a tattoo nor Super Saturday are in the budget. So I'm going to pause here because this is something I also seen in Beachbody. So they would always say like, oh, if you're not making time for things like Super Saturday or Summit, you're a bad business owner, or oh, you're not doing enough. You are not putting enough into it. No wonder you're failing. And that's what they would really use. And then the fact that she would make you feel bad about ice cream and Reese's, it's something I see all of the time. I see a lot of people in Beachbody talking about, oh, well, here's an alternative. You shouldn't be eating that. Or, oh, why don't we throw away all of our Halloween candy because we shouldn't be having that. We can only have like 1 or 2 pieces. It's like, okay, I know you may not, realize you're shaming people that decide to eat all of their candy, but you kind of end up doing that in the process. So this person just doesn't seem like a nice person in general, who her upline was. So I feel really bad for her and for that. And I've definitely heard a lot of times people say that they've also dealt with the whole thing where they would go in their stories talking about, oh, I'm gonna get a tattoo, or oh, I'm gonna do this, or oh, I'm gonna buy furniture. And then you would get reached out to by your upline and they would complain about how you couldn't make it to Summit or Super Saturday. Never happened to me. My upline never did that, but I know I have seen a lot of other people's do. So let's keep going. She goes, I ran the numbers between December 2018 and July 2020. I lost $2,006.24 on business fees, VIP access to programs, and products, some of which I didn't even like and expired or got thrown away pretty quickly. That doesn't include my husband's business fee or products to stay active. I never had to file a W-2 for my Beachbody business, which should give you an idea of how much I made. She blocked me after I posted a pic and caption that basically said I was over the bullshit. The other woman on her team, wait, that was my tribe, right? Either unfriended or blocked me too. I do use the workouts, but nothing else. And P.S. Shakeology tastes worse than Isogenics, and if you put the greens powder in it, you'll definitely taste it. A couple days later, she posted that she didn't have to dim someone's light to shine, and she would send me a postcard from the top. Obviously, I wasn't named, but we all know who it's directed to. I'm still waiting for the postcard. I can't wait to celebrate all the women you scammed and mistreated so you could build your bank account. Gosh, I have so much to say about her. She is mean and condescending. She says she is the nicest person ever. She says she's not negative at all, but she was cut from high school cheer for her negative attitude, and she started Beachbody because she lost her job because of her negative attitude. I really thought I liked her and I wanted to like her, but the more I think about it, the more I realize it was all just for her to build her team of boss babes, and I'm pretty sure she didn't like me at all. I was just another number for her. I just wish others would realize the same. Thanks for reading this long ramble, and thanks for sharing all of these stories. Whew, that was a lot. Yeah, I definitely agree with the whole some uplines, will look at everyone as a number. And the fact that she pointed out something that I haven't seen someone point out in a long time is where she said her upline would say, it's for the team. You need to stay active for the team. You need to rank advance for the team. They always are taught, right, from the top to the tippy top, teach the downlines that they need to talk about it as a team. It's their team that makes everything happen, which is true, right? When you're in Beachbody, the upline receives recognition based off, rank advancing and things like that. But in order to rank advance, you need to have a downline. You need to have people in your downline. So they'll tell their downlines like, oh, it's for the team. It's for the team. But the only person that gets recognition or gets, shouted out or the company sends gifts to is the upline. The upline gets treated amazingly by the company, getting gifts and all of these things at Summit and getting to walk across stage at Summit and getting invited to their LA trip that I actually, unfortunately, went to, but their LA trip and stuff like that. And it's actually about the person. It's not for the team. It's not for anybody. It's for the upline. That they just say and mask it by saying it's for the team. So I'm very curious if any of you guys have dealt with that in a different MLM. I've seen it very largely in Beachbody, maybe a little bit in Itworks too, where they'll be like, our team did it, which when you look at it, your team did do it. They did buy products, they stayed active, they recruited, they did what they did so that you could, you know, rank advance and stuff. But like in the end, it's only really the upline who gets that recognition for getting to the top or getting to a certain rank. So that is really sad. I'm so sorry she treated you that way. It just sucks because sometimes there are just some uplines that I'm like, I don't know how I would have dealt with it, but I'm normally someone like you. I'm not really going to say anything because it didn't seem like you said much to her. Now you want to, but it didn't seem like you said much to her at the time. And I'm definitely that person that doesn't say stuff either to people. So I wonder what you would want to say to her now. Okay, so here's another one. It's a really long. Oh, is it a Beachbody one again? I think so. I never pick in a specific order. I just see them in my email and tell people stories, so I never know until I open up the email. But it goes, hey Deanna, I'm new to your channel and have been loving your MLM Horror Stories series. If you read this, please keep me anonymous. I have personally never joined an MLM. I've thought about it a few times, but I have social anxiety that would make throwing parties and cold messaging people a nightmare, so it never happened. I have thrown parties for friends that were MLM reps and purchased products, but this story relates to an ex-friend of mine that is, in my opinion, an absolute MLM queen. This horror story is really just a red flag warning of what can happen if you get totally sucked into the MLM world. I met her after I started dating my now husband. She was married to a close friend of his, and after I started hanging out with his group friend, we became close friends. When I first met her, we would call her S. She was a Beachbody coach, all in. She constantly posted about the company. All of her social media content was Beachbody related. She worked out all the time, posted short snippets of the workout. She used all the products for herself and recommended them to all of us. She went to the yearly Beachbody meetings, constant love, light, my kids are my why. It was a lot. She never pushed the MLM on any of the close friend groups around her besides telling us how awesome the products were. What happened is she developed a whole separate group of friends that I now know were her downline that she would constantly post pictures and content with. It was always humorous to me how these best friends rotated so quickly. Looking back, what was clearly happening is her best friend would quit the company and her new recruit would replace them. Then come the day when she started selling wine. I don't remember what the MLM was called, but I remember her telling me it was $500 to join and you would get 3 new wines every month. She threw a party to try to sell us the expensive bottles of wine that taste the same as a $6 grocery store bottle. I went to the party to support her as her friend and to get free alcohol, but I didn't buy anything. Around this time, she also started to trash Beachbody. It wasn't what it seems. I was faking being happy. The wine business saved me, etc. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but does it stop at one MLM switch? Oh no. After the wine, there was happy coffee. I'm not sure what the MLM was called, but there was coffee that gave you energy and helped you lose weight, along with a pill of some kind that was supposed to do the same. By this time, our friendship was stretching due to her failing marriage. Her husband and my husband were super close friends, so when their marriage started to fail, her husband came to mine for support. I knew a lot of details about her real life, including their financial situation. She was thousands of dollars in credit card debt. They had to borrow money from their parents multiple times to be able to keep their house from going into foreclosure. She spent all her money on products from her newest MLM. I mean, $500 to sell wine when you're loaning your house? How does that make sense? She quit selling coffee after a while and moved on to a new style of MLM, buying/selling cryptocurrency. At first, it didn't look like direct sales MLM, but after watching videos on it in YouTube, it became clear that you get paid based on the investments of your downline. It may look different, but it's the same old game. Eventually, her marriage ended. Her husband just couldn't keep up with it anymore. The constant changing friends that would always tell her exactly what she wanted to hear instead of the truth. The spending money, the never being home, the fact that all her attention was always somewhere else, it was a lot. She even once posted about their split on her social media, threatening to send her 8,000 followers to attack him. Over the years, she has gained a decent following, but it doesn't ever seem to equate to money. She is still working 2 actual real-life jobs on top of her MLM. She says that it's because she's chasing the paper, but when she moved out of her house, she had to get a cheap rundown apartment for herself because it's all she could afford. Not knocking that, as I have left a marriage with nothing and totally been there. My problem comes in with showing yourself on social media as being happy and successful and thriving, when in reality your life is in shambles. Her friendships also failed. None of our friend group speaks to her anymore because of the always changing routine. When you're constantly changing your personality to better fit into your newest downline, it's hard to keep genuine friends. I never knew who she was going to be from day to day, and honestly got tired of her calling someone she just met her best friend when she had actual real life best friends who stood by her through all her real life crap. It's clear to me that she would take all the effort she has put into making MLM owners money and put it into her own business. She would probably be very successful, but instead she has been on this MLM ride and alienating herself from her family and real friends. Thank you for all you do making this type of content. I hope the people that are either in MLMs or are thinking about it will stop and reassess the reality. MLMs will take you for a ride and destroy your life. They're not worth it in any way, and I'm glad you're laying that out for people. So that's a hard one. That's why a lot of the times I talk about the fact that MLMs really portray this lifestyle that is normally unattainable to most people that join MLM. So when desperate people or people that need some more hope in their life, or they need something new and they think that this is going to be a smart thing, a lot of the times it's not, because you don't know what people are going through behind closed doors. When you're on social media, you don't. And these MLMs do a really great job at portraying this amazing lifestyle that you never know if they're telling the truth or if behind the scenes they're exactly like this woman, failed marriage in an apartment that's run down, unfortunately, because, she isn't $1,000 into debt because of her MLM hopping on all MLMs. And it makes me really sad when I see this happen to people because I feel so bad. And that's a lot of the reasons why I do my videos. I hope to help people in the future not go through this, or if someone is going through this, if they come across a video like this, maybe they're able to see like, okay, I need to do a little bit more research, or I need to reassess the situation, because that's what I hope my videos do, or I hope they make people get a different perspective, because that is really sad that that has happened and she just continues to hop into MLMs. People really think that they're going to help them, and most of the time they're not. So that's like a really sad story for me to read. So let's move on to the next one. So this one says, "Hi Deanna, I love your videos. You do amazing work and I love your Instagram feed." Thank you. She said, "My name is Hannah and you can use my name. I wouldn't call this an MLM horror story per se, but it definitely opened my eyes to how predatory this industry is. For the record, I'm in the UK and our stance on MLMs is, at the time of this email, being redrawn and reconsidered. Back in 2015, I was suffering from horrible depression in a job I hated and just wanted to get out. My manager and I had a pretty nasty argument about his lack of professionalism, his abusive tendencies towards staff — he was the only man on a team of women — and his abuse of our benefits. We were allowed one free bag of coffee a week, and he tried to jig the system so that he would get our coffee in addition to his own. Long story short, even with the evidence we provided and the backing of my colleagues, I was fired and he got to keep his job. Safe to say I was crushed and in the really dark place afterwards. About a month later, I started applying for jobs in sales and only one got back to me. The woman whose name I can't remember, so we'll just call her Anne. Anne was so sweet and professional. During the interview, she was asking about where I want to be in a few years, and I was honest that I wasn't sure. I just needed something to give me experience. Anne said she appreciated my honesty and that I sounded like I could be a great fit for her company. My first red flag should I have been when I asked, "What is your company and what do you sell?" And she said, "We're a sales company. We sell well-being products." No definitive answer, just something vague that can apply to a wide range of businesses. Well, Anne invited me to a conference and I was excited. I dressed up in the nicest dress, put on makeup. I barely wear makeup, usually only for performances or when I get dressed up all nice, and I made my way to the conference center. The conference center turned out to be a room they had rented in the lower levels of a hotel. I was confused, but still wanting to go through with it. When I texted my mom to say I'm here, when I arrived, I was the first one there and they were still setting up. Because I wanted to make a good first impression, I asked if I could help set up. This should have been the second red flag. In job interviews I had in the years following, they would have said no due to health and safety concerns. Instead, this MLM, Forever Living, allowed me to help. Then I met Anne, who reminded me of one of those grandmothers who tries not to look like a grandmother. I don't mean that in a harsh way. She was very pretty, obviously older, but put a lot of time and effort into her appearance. I got a text from my mom asking about how the interview had gone, etc. And I sent her a picture and Googled the company, which is how I learned that Forever Living was an aloe vera MLM. Anne had never told me the company's name, another red flag, presumably because she wanted to hook me in and prevent me from learning about MLMs in general. The presentation concerned the hell out of me. There were people claiming that aloe vera is a cure-all for everything. They even had a woman with sickle cell disease claiming that she came off her medication purely because she was taking high-grade quality aloe every single day. Another guy with psoriasis claimed that he had been completely free of flare-ups for 6 months. All of the before and after photos were, in retrospect, clearly filtered and doctored to make the transformation seem more convincing. And not to mention the products. For a comparison, a 100 milliliter bottle of aloe vera gel at Holland and Barrett, a health food store over here, goes for $4.95 or £4.95. Do they say cents? Do they say like £4.95? Or do they say like four? Please, if you're in the UK, how do you say that? I know it's pounds, but is it like £4, 4.95 pounds, or is it £4.95? Like, do you guys also say cents? That's probably the dumbest question ever, but I'm curious. So it's $4.95 at their normal store for a 100 milliliter bottle. She said I could get 250 milliliters for about £6 on Amazon. Forever Living were trying to sell me a 200 milliliter tube of aloe vera gel for close to £10. They even tried to get me to buy the kit, and Anne was nice enough to offer to waive the startup cost. But having watched your videos and hearing other people's horror stories, I knew it wouldn't have really been a waived cost. I would have owed her money that I didn't have and wouldn't have been able to earn it back. It was only years later when I started watching you, Illuminati, and other anti-MLM content creators that I realized how cult-like and predatory it actually was. There are people in my life who sell Avon, and I want to support them because they're my friends, and I don't want to support their upline to get hooked into it, especially knowing what I know now. Now I'm 27 and in a job I love. It doesn't pay as much as a 9-to-5, but I can work to my own schedule while working on my own novel, and most of the money I earn goes towards savings. And no, it's not an MLM, I'm a ghostwriter. I've also taken a ton of classes in writing and music, submitted a play to a national playwriting contest, which viewed to have a produced post-pandemic, and I'm auditioning for a musical theater school close to where I live. Post-pandemic, I hope to start training properly as an actor, with view to write for musicals in the future. Thank you again for all of your work. Please keep it up. So I loved like the ending of that one. I love hearing your guys' endings and seeing like where you are now and how you got there. So clearly it really angers me that the guy didn't get fired. The guy back in the job, I know that has really nothing to do with MLMs. That's just, you know, her backstory on how she got almost working for Forever Living or being a Forever Living rep. But that does make me mad. Like, you would fire the female that's putting in a complaint over the male who is trying to essentially take things from their workers. Like, that's just very shady to me. So I'm sorry that happened, but luckily now I can see that you have, you know, gotten to where you wanted to, working a job you love, doing what you want, you know, being a ghostwriter, submitting a play. Like, that's freaking awesome that it's in view to be produced post-pandemic. So I'm so glad. And you also did make a good point about the aloe vera, because I definitely, and I feel like everyone knows that you look at MLM products, they are generally way overpriced for what you normally would be able to purchase at the store. Like, I believe, let me look up the Arbonne toothbrush or toothpaste, because I think for the Arbonne toothpaste, it's like an insane amount of money when I can go get toothpaste for like $2-3 at the store. Yes, an Arbonne toothpaste is $17. That's just an example that they hike up the price. Like, who's gonna pay $17 for toothpaste? If you are, what kind of magic is in this toothpaste? I just don't get it. But yeah, it's definitely a big thing that MLM products are more expensive. I always have my theories on why, aka having to pay the commissions to the person that sells it, having to pay commissions to the uplines, but the company also needing to make a profit off of it, would make viable sense when it comes to why products are so expensive. I don't see why else they would be so expensive. I don't know why MLMs would want to make it hard for downlines or people who join as reps to sell when things are so expensive. But I think it's, you know, a repercussion of having to pay so many people in the uplines or in the pyramid, depending on the pay structure. But I am really glad that you got out of it and you don't have to deal with that anymore. Not really got out of it, but you never really fell for it, I should say. You didn't fall for it, which makes me really happy. So that is going to be all for today's horror stories. I know it's a little bit of a shorter one, but this week has been a crazy week. So I still, you know, wanted to be able to read horror stories this week. It's just been totally crazy. So I hope that you guys are okay with it being a little bit shorter. Definitely let me know down below what were your thoughts on these MLM horror stories. Have you had interactions with these MLMs, or do you have your own story? Do you relate to these MLM stories? I would love to know. And then don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you would like. You know, if you would like to subscribe and join the family here on, you know, Deanna's channel, Dee's channel, whatever we want to call it. Morning tea with Dee. I got my hoodie on today. And I upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Friday about MLMs, and Wednesdays are my lifestyle days. So I will catch you in the next video.